All righty. Well, welcome back to another episode of Man On Bourbon. This will be our year-ending, I guess you could call it year-ending episode. And tonight we'll be featuring Woodford Reserve. I hope everyone had a very fruitful and wonderful holiday. You know, even though, you know, with this being with the COVID and everything, you know, I know it was very trying times. Very different type of holiday for everyone this year. But, you know, again, like I said, I hope everyone had a good time and families is doing okay. Kids got everything they wanted. It's all about the kids. You know how that is. Talk to me.
Piggybacking on what he said, it was a very trying year.
Very.
It's one of those things that you can't really plan for. I know I didn't plan for it. And the world didn't. It just happened.
Nobody really planned for it.
One day you was good, and the next day you wasn't. Right. It did happen overnight. But we still here.
We managed to get.
And it's something to be said for us still here, you know.
We got to do it.
Now it's about 330,000 plus Americans, not even talking about globally, people that are not here. So first of all, if we don't do anything else, we need to pour us something to get us a good toast.
For making it through 2020.
For making it, so let's crack something open.
And, we already have.
Well, let me just
go ahead and get you some of that.
All right,
Yeah,
so
let me get some. Hold on.
I want to toast to. First of all, I want to do two toasts. The first toast.
We're gonna do a couple toasts.
We're gonna do a few toasts.
A few toasts.
We're gonna do a few toasts.
Let me get some of that Weller. I think we about done with this one.
Yeah, that's about done. It's about
That's the
done.
last of it. Get that green Weller.
First toast, like you say, we wanna.
All right, hold on. So first toast,
Okay, I'll take
if
a
you don't
little
mind,
bit of that.
and we can
It's
go down the
another shot in
line.
it. Still got another shot.
First
in it.
toast I wanna put in the air is for all of the souls that died from this COVID-19 thing that didn't see it coming this time last year. So this time last year, you got, I don't know, over 1 million people that was on this planet that was planning on what they was gonna do in where we are right now. They like, man, next New Year's Eve, we gonna be kicking it. Planning. But it didn't happen
My birthday got ruined.
because something happened called COVID and it took a lot of souls away. So for all of the souls that are gone, you know, we honor you. This was a terrible pandemic.
We miss you.
But we miss you and we'll never forget you. Salute to you. Oh, cameraman.
That's the second toast. Second toast goes out. Second toast goes out to our new camera crew.
Yeah.
We have Brother Ron and Brother Torrey behind the camera.
Ron and Torrey.
Shooting this beautiful production that we have going on.
Yep.
You were saying, Captain?
Hold up. Toast to them. Toast.
Toast. Cheers.
Cheers.
I want to say, even though Corona was a bad thing or something that we didn't expect, and it hit us a different way, like something we never had before, in our time.
Right.
Okay, an epidemic that in our time we've never experienced. Not saying that, you know, swine flu and all that stuff before us wasn't as bad, but you know, it gave us time to sit back and reflect on life, enjoy the good things of life, like bourbon. It gave me the opportunity to really dig into bourbon, and really get the flavors and really get into it. You know, not working, staying in the house,
Right.
you know, and not being around, you know, friends like you normally are. It gives you the opportunity to reflect on a lot of things and get into a lot of things.
Right.
So COVID-19 wasn't a really all negative for me. I really got into bourbon and really got a chance to get into a lot of different types, a lot of different flavors, and even cigars more than usual. You know, even though I was on the go before Corona, it gave me the opportunity to slow down and really appreciate the finer things like cigar, bourbon, and family, number one.
We took a trip.
We also took a trip, you know.
We took a trip to Kentucky.
You know, it really
Do
gave
some
me
bourbon
the opportunity
shopping.
to sit down and reflect on the finer things in life and really appreciate this kind of stuff.
Right. The things you take advantage of.
Take for granted.
For granted. Excuse me. Take for granted.
You know, so,
Absolutely.
You know, I was able to sit down and really get into the flavors of a lot of different things. Really get
Yes,
into,
sir.
you know, some gentleman type stuff, if you will.
There we go, my man. Yes, sir.
Let's throw that in there. Let's throw it up
Cheers.
there. Cheers, cheers, cheers.
All right.
To the finer things. And sometimes you just
to
have to slow
to the
down.
more mature things in life.
All right.
Now, since now we got all our cheers out of the way,
Cheers.
and like you said, we wrapping up the year 2020. This will be our last episode of 2020. So I figured why not going to end it up with a staple of bourbon, which would be Woodford Reserve.
Staple.
Yes, sir. Woodford Reserve. It's been around a long, long time. I mean, a lot of people when they first get off into bourbon, this is one of the bourbons they get introduced to. And like myself, yeah, everybody knows that I'm very privy to Buffalo Trace, but Woodford is one of those staples in the bourbon society. Like I said, that everyone gets introduced to first. Very nice bourbon. I mean, it's, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 90 proof. 78% corn, 15% barley, 7% rye. And it's been handed down by 3 generations. So it was bought by the Bowman Forman Company in the early 1990s, I want to say. It was sold to another company, and Jesus Christ, the name fails me right now, but then they rebought it again. So it was bought and repurchased. So apparently Bowman Forman found something that they liked about Woodford Reserve. They thought they had to purchase it twice.
I'm gonna tell you before we sample it, one thing about Woodford that I can say is at the Cigar Lounge, there was a time when that's the only bottle that you see coming in. It was Woodford Reserve. Woodford. The small bottle, the big bottle, which is different for me because I'm from Tennessee and back, you know, it was Jack Daniels where I'm from.
Right.
You know, it don't matter what the party is, weddings, bar mitzvahs, funerals. Jack Daniels is coming through the door. It just Jack is there. But here, you know, and I got introduced to it at the Cigar Lounge from some of the fellas, and you know, it's a very consistent libation. Very consistent, you know.
Just to touch on what you just said, you said you were Jack Daniels is primarily the drink from the Tennessee, but it's also owned by what's it, Bowman? Jesus Christ!
Is that right?
Hold on, I'm getting my words all befuddled. It's also owned by the Brown Forman Company. So you got Jack Daniels, Woodford Reserve, Old Forester. Slain, and I feel like I'm missing one. But Brown Forman, they're doing some good things with bourbon over there. They've been in business. As a matter of fact, this is their 150th year of being in business. They just came out with a 150th anniversary. Help me out.
Old Forester.
Old Forester. They had the
Old
150th anniversary edition of Old Forester just came out. $160 bottle. Very rare, very hard to find. They came out with 3 editions. They had version 1, version 2, or should I say mash bill 1, mash bill 2, and mash bill 3. 3 is floating around now. 1 came out earlier part of the year. 2, of course, came out in the summer.
That's where I met you, Cam.
Correct. That was the day. So you better say. So we're gonna go and tap off into this Woodford, crack this open and see what we got going on here.
What we got
And
here?
we also have, we may have a few guests to come on camera here in a little bit.
Okay, this.
I saw Brother Leezy come in. I'm sure Brother Leezy would like
He's enjoying a nice hoagie over there in the corner.
Oh, it's a hoagie?
A hoagie sandwich.
Yeah, but I'm sure he might want to get on wax for a minute. And
Also one of the men on bourbon.
yeah, I'm sure he may want to say a few things
We're
here in a
gonna,
little bit.
we're gonna crack this bottle though. This particular barrel was selected by, I want to say, Chris Morris, Master Distiller.
That's the master distiller over there at Woodford
Master
Reserve.
Distiller. This particular barrel
God bless you,
Now,
Chris.
was selected
Every-
by Chris
every
Morris,
bottle of
Master
Woodford.
Distiller.
Should have a barrel number too.
Oh, it's got a bottle number
Yeah, bottle number and barrel number.
and it's got a batch number.
There we go. Excuse me.
Okay, well,
There we go.
This-
Now what bottle is that?
This
Brother
is-
Bernard, can you
Should
come?
be off into the thousands.
well, this
Come-
bottle
come
is
forward real quick. I just
number
want you to come.
3,238.
That's okay. We'll come
There we
to
go.
The batch is 5,025.
Damn.
Hold on, gentlemen. We have another esteemed guest. I want to bring the cameraman around.
So there's 5,000 different batches
Yeah, this is
that
batch.
they've made.
This is
But that's
batch number
for 3,000 bottles.
3,238 bottle out of this batch of 5,028.
Hopefully he'll come in.
Now that's a little, I don't want to say astonishing, but Jesus Christ, I mean, so basically that lets you know that how many times they had to go through it to get it right. So they made 5,000 batches and only came out of 3,000 something bottles. They're letting you know that practice makes perfect. How about that?
Yeah, they've been shooting in the gym like Kobe.
Exactly.
They've been shooting in the gym like Kobe on this one, homie.
Hey, let's go on and pour that up, man. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, we
Let's
gonna
go on and get a sniff and see, what kind of
Let's see
legs
what
it
we
got
got.
on it.
Excuse
see
me
what
for
we
that.
got. You know,
back.
yeah,
Of course, I have my ice here because I like to make a slushy with mine.
yeah. I call him the bourbon slushy guy.
You know.
Well,
everybody-
as everyone knows, there's no particular way that you have to drink your bourbon.
I'll
You
take
can
a little,
have it neat.
take a little hit of that. I'm gonna take mine neat, no ice.
You can have it neat. You can have it on the rocks.
You know, one cube will open up the flavor. You know, a lot of people like to take a cube and open up the flavor. You know,
Well,
what
I
mean?
have a delicate palate, so.
That's not what Cam said, but
We're not gonna talk about that. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole other day. But anyway,
So
I don't know how delicate your palate
No,
really
we don't.
is.
we're gonna get a good look at this here. I always like to look at the glass, see what kind of legs I'm getting off the bourbon.
explain the legs, please.
Legs, basically, it lets you know if the bourbon is sticking to the glass and it runs down, basically like tears. It's sticking,
Not so
but
much.
I'm not.
Not
getting,
as
I'm
much
not,
as some of the
right,
others.
I'm
Not
not
so
getting too
much.
much of a run though.
No.
You normally get a lot of legs coming down. It's sticking, but you don't see the legs.
Well, this is the basic Woodford, though. You know what I'm saying? This is not.
This is not your upper echelon of
It's
Woodford.
not. So this is the run of the
You know,
mill.
when
You
you
can
talk
find
about
this
Woodford, the
anywhere.
Maybe a little young.
The most, when you talk about Woodford, the one that people like the most that's of your upper echelon of flavor is Double Oak.
Yes.
Double O.
Double oak.
Double Oak.
Fantastic.
It's
Okay,
very
so-
dark,
So when you get that,
Tina Turner
very
legs.
enriched.
Legs like Tina
so
Turner.
you probably wondering what I'm doing. Okay, so switching around a little bit.
And
it
what are you
brings up-
doing? Let them know. Let the crowd know what you're doing.
You know, you switch it around a little bit. It brings up a lot of the alcohol smell and releases it from the glass.
Aerated.
So I
I was
could
gonna
get
say, would that be called aerating?
That's aerating.
air rating,
It
but I'm
is.
gonna give it to people that don't know what that means.
That's cool.
Okay, so it also brings forth a lot of smell, a lot of flavor that you can smell in a bourbon. Okay, you want to drink it out of an open-ended glass. Okay, so the flavors and everything can come through. So like he's sniffing it right there. It's my turn. Okay, so I tell you what I get. I get a little walnut, some cherry.
I get some cherry. I get some cherry.
I'll get the cherry as well.
You know, a
Little
taste
vanilla.
of taste of chocolate in the smell.
Vanilla. Vanilla bean.
I get the vanilla bean like
the
a
vanilla bean to be exact. And when you're sniffing, always slightly have your mouth open. Never sniff with your mouth closed because you're not going to get the true essence of what you're smelling.
Mm-hmm.
So have your mouth slightly open.
When you taste your bourbon,
And get you a slight sip.
you move your mouth in a chewing gum motion. so you can get all the hints and get the bourbon on all the palates of your mouth. Move your mouth in the chewing gum motion so you can get all of it.
Does it just
Taste
me,
all the flavors.
or this tastes extremely young?
Now, a lot of the flavors that I smell, I sort of taste.
So
A little bit more nuttier than
It's like I'm getting.
you know what I'm getting from
I'm
this?
getting that nut taste, but it's
This right here.
in this batch.
This particular batch right here has a very young taste to it.
very
You don't
extremely
get-
young.
You can tell that this is their, I guess you could probably say their flagship, and they make a lot of it. Now it's good, it's consistent, but it's not giving you any of the aging complexity that we have from some of the other.
Yeah.
But not saying it's not good,
Correct.
but it tastes young compared to the other things, the other bourbons that we sent.
Even going back for a second sip, it's just like
It's run of the
and
mill.
I hate to say it, but it tastes kind of watered down.
I
I don't know if that's because we used to drinking stronger bourbon.
I think,
don't know.
Well, understand now, this is coming behind Weller though.
think we're drinking.
No,
Weller is a weeded bourbon.
but it's coming behind that. So our palates are not completely virgin for today because we have been drinking Weller, and Weller is a totally different
So,
taste. So we've
Let
kind
me ask you a question.
Okay.
Is this Woodford? Is it an aged bourbon?
You know,
Is it
Good
an aged
question.
let's
bourbon?
take a look.
good question.
Turn the ball
Good
around.
question.
I don't think it is.
Good question.
I don't think it is.
You know, we're used to drinking an aged.
It's not. If it was, it would say it. It's not.
You know,
Yeah.
a
It's
little
not.
Googling.
Let's do some googling.
Let's do a little Googling. Yeah, we gotta do a little Googling.
Google is everybody's friend. Let's see if it's an aged bourbon.
So we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna ask the Google gods.
You know, because the darker the bourbon is, the longer it's been
It's
aged.
Woodford Reserve.
You know, and
aged-
sometimes it's not
bourbon.
aged, so you don't get a lot of flavors that you're looking for in a bourbon when you're used to drinking an aged bourbon.
So we are all wrong. It says Woodford Reserve is aged for an average of 7.3 years.
So, there
Wow,
we go.
this is
There we go.
Now, if this is aged for 7 years, guess what?
But guess what? It is darker than you. I mean, it's dark like an aged bourbon.
I
The
hate to
darker
be
it
the
is-
bearer of bad news. For this to be aged 7 years, it should be darker, brother.
You think at 7 years?
Oh, it's pretty dark. It's pretty dark.
Pretty dark.
It's like this. This is darker than.
And then the taste, we both just said
Well, the
taste
taste,
young.
yes.
They
Taste.
taste young.
But in terms of the green spot we have,
Look at this.
No,
That's
the Weller.
no, I'm talking about the green spot the other time we
The
had.
that's a
Weller, the
whiskey.
Weller is
Green
lighter
spot.
and it tastes stronger.
But the Weller's not as aged as long as Weller's not aged as long as Woodford.
Yeah, it might be like a 4-year weeder.
Yeah,
It
that's
might be about right about that.
they pumping that out.
All right, now check this out.
However, it's still a very good, very consistent bourbon and has a great price point.
For the price,
For the
it's
price,
a good bourbon.
It's a
Aged-
$35 bottle.
It's
It's a $35 bottle.
and aged 7 years, so that's pretty good.
Age wise, but I'm just. Do you taste 7 years?
It doesn't taste.
Can I be honest on my palate?
Right.
I taste 7 years.
What?
On my palate, I taste 7 years. Now,
We needed another palate in here. But Brother Bernard,
Brother Bernard is not a good.
Woodrow.
we
It's not even
really
Woodrow.
need Lazy.
You know, it's
Yo,
got a
Leezy,
nice.
eat. Leezy, we need you.
It actually has a nice color to it, though.
DJ,
It actually has a nice
we
color.
need you
to
up
it.
here.
A nice.
You know what, Leezy?
It
And
has a nice.
I wrote
Now,
a song
you know what,
for you, but
I
I'm
will-
not singing
It
it.
had,
now.
and especially.
Have you heard about it?
I will retract my statement. The color is
ain't heard
nice.
the song?
It has a nice color to it. It has
gonna-
an aged color to it.
I'm telling Leezy.
And it's got a nice flavor.
Give us
You
a
know,
song.
it's not bad. I've tasted a lot worse.
The amber color is very nice. It's present. I see, you know, but it's the taste is just throwing me off.
To me, I get all the flavors that I smell. I get a cherry, chocolate, nutty, vanilla, I'm tasting hints of all of that. Woodford, I would say that it's worth the money.
Okay, so this is what I get. You're right. It's definitely worth the money. That's 100% true. I think the problem that I'm having is probably the problem that he's having, is that we have been drinking a lot of Blantons, and which we had not done Blantons
Palate
yet.
blew out.
And our palate has been like spray painted with ambrosia from Blantons. So it's kind of
Say spray painted with ambrosia.
yeah, because
Man.
so sometimes you get it's hard sometimes when you have your favorites, and that's my favorite. But this is great, but because this was my Blantons before I started really drinking Blantons, and sometimes you can it's hard to be objective sometimes when you. And then some of the other things that he has are just like E.H. Taylor and things. It's just
Mind blown.
That's all. I get it. I'm not saying, but I
Okay.
get it. When I taste bourbon, I start from zero. I clear my mind, and I forget about what I like the best, and I try to find the best in every bourbon, no matter what the cost, no matter how long it's been distilled.
I like that.
I try to wind myself down
And go back to zero.
and go back to zero. So
Okay.
when you're tasting bourbon, it's the same with cigars.
Now let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
Quick question. On a scale of 1 to 5,
Ooh.
5 being the highest, what would
Okay.
you rate this?
What would I rate on a scale of 1 to 5?
In bourbon.
In
In
bourbons.
aged bourbon.
Aged bourbons, 3.5.
Okay.
1 to 5, I give it a 3.5.
Okay.
Double oak though,
I'm
that's a whole nother.
I would give this a 2.5.
Okay. I would give this a 3 because I need some room to get up to some of the stuff that's way better than this. Not saying this is bad, this is great, but I can't give it a 3.5 because if 5 is the top, there's some things that are at least 2 points better than this.
Correct.
At least.
Correct.
Now I'm not going to go down to a 2.5 because this was the Rolls Royce for a minute until we actually started
You're
driving.
absolutely right.
So I'll give this a 3.
I concur.
But there are bourbons out
And
there.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The more I'm sipping it, the better it's starting to taste.
Oh,
The more I'm sipping it, the better it's starting to taste.
he may be up to a 3.5 in no time. By the time he get to the bottom of the bottle, he'll be
So
at a
we don't have
3.5.
cups, but we're gonna do like
I'm
back
at a
in
3.5 already.
back in the Bible days. In the Bible days, we
I
went
like
to
the
the
flavor.
river.
I
You
like
did
the
this.
taste.
So we will pour some bourbon in your
In your
cupped
hand.
hands, and that's his cup.
Just pour a little bit in my hand for a dime.
So ladies and gentlemen,
I'm sorry.
Well, we're
We do
letting
have
you
some
know.
cups, though. Let me-
Woodford Reserve for the price
Look
point,
right there by the what you call it.
$35 a bottle,
3.5 for the price.
7-year aged bourbon.
3.5 for the price and the flavor.
Now I have a different question for you, gentlemen.
3.5.
Now, when you're drinking this, what do you like in your mind? Where does it take you to? For me, when I had a sip of this on my rocks or whatnot,
Your rocks.
on my rocks,
Appalachian Mountains.
Well, yeah, I like a slushy. That is what it is. What, you gonna shoot me?
But, okay.
I like that. All
But
right. But what I'm
the
saying,
flavor profile that it gave you.
no, the flavor profile, what it did for me, it took me to a place that I don't know if I've really been there physically, but I was an older gentleman. I had just got through eating. My little grandkids, they done went to bed. That's a fire burning right there. No TV on. And this would be the great drink for that moment of reflection. Thinking over for right now, thinking over the year, hoping that you have this opportunity next year to do some things. I would drink this. I would drink this. You know what I'm saying? As I'm sitting there chilling, of course, I got on the smoker's jacket or whatever. I got my favorite cigar, whatever that is. I have a lot of them. But this is a great reflective bourbon. When you just want to reflective. On whatever, this is good. It's not expensive. You can drink this bottle and go get you another.
And it's not cheap.
It ain't cheap.
Not expensive. And it's not cheap bourbon.
Inexpensive. $35, that's inexpensive.
It's a $35
As opposed
for a
to, this was $90.
We're not going to compare the two.
That was $90.
We're talking about, we can't compare, we're talking about Woodford. So we're not going to compare Woodford to anything else but Woodford.
Now I can't drink that over there. I would prefer not
How
to.
about this though?
I love that.
We compare it to some other stuff. 'Cause,
But that book- that Booker's
is
is-
Weller is
it's a
only
different
what,
thing.
$23?
But it's aged less. There's no
And it
aging
tastes
on
better.
this. You think?
Yeah,
Look
that
how
tastes
light that
better.
is.
It tastes
Look
better.
how light that is. There's no color to that.
It
There's no
tastes
age
much
to that.
better.
But it tastes better.
They mass produce this.
They mass produce that.
Not as much as they do this.
That's
That
better.
tastes much better.
I mean, I get it.
It just tastes. I mean, that's just me.
I get it. But when I drink bourbon, I compare that bourbon to that bourbon.
What's your favorite bourbon? If you don't mind me asking.
Okay, you want to know my favorite bourbon?
That's the question. I
Okay,
asked you.
my favorite bourbon is out of the Buffalo Trace. My favorite bourbon is Eagle Rare.
Anything coming out of Buffalo Trace, you cannot
Eagle
do.
Rare is very good.
Anything.
That's me though. That's my palate. That's what I like the best. But again, when I drink bourbon, no matter what the cost or what it is, I go back to zero and judge it from that point. I never compare bourbon to another bourbon. Because at the end of the day, you know, nothing's gonna beat my favorite. No matter what you bring out of here, it's what I like. So nothing's gonna beat that. You can bring $200 bourbon out here, but if it's something that I really like, you can't compare anything to that. So what I do is take the bourbon for what it is, and then I go from there. Now, to me, when we're talking about Woodford Reserve and we're talking about this $35 bottle, aged at 7 years, 7.5, it's not a bad bourbon. It's something that's
So
definitely
we're
on my
gonna
bar.
wrap this up.
Okay.
So
You
what
know,
we're gonna do is we're gonna
Something that's definitely on my bar. Something that's a change of pace. You know, and at $35 for a fifth, to me, you can't beat it.
Woodford Reserve. That's what we featured this evening. Last bottle that we will be featuring of the year. Like we say, so a $35 bottle. We're gonna average it out to about a 3-star.
I think that's good.
About a 3.
That's fair.
You know, and,
And it's
you've
a-
gotten it from three different standpoints. How about we just say a cult?
Hold on, time out.
How about a
Wait.
cult classic?
If I may, for
Come
1
on.
second, I would like to bring another esteemed partner of mine up, DJ Leezy, Funk, you know, Funk Mix.
Say DJ Fat Cat.
I just want my man. I want my man because I know that
we value his opinion.
we value his opinion.
We value his opinion.
And we would like him to step to the table and bless us with, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That boy got that. He got that dick was single barrel. Of course, hell yeah. Of course you
Don't
can.
sit right there. Don't sit right there.
Over there.
Sit over there.
Sign seat.
Sit over there.
Okay, fella. I'll sit right over there. Like how far? Like over here?
You could do whatever you like.
Oh my
We
God.
got brother Lee,
Hey, how are you?
one of our esteemed colleagues.
Yeah, it's me. I can't spell it. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's not. Yeah, that's just beer. This is something I brought. Yeah, you know, I picked it up in
That
Virginia.
is
Oh
delicious.
man.
Yeah, so
You
I
say you
said,
got that from where?
That
Virginia.
is-
I picked it up and I just caught my eye. You know, and I was like, hey, let me see what's happening.
Didn't text me and say, hey, I'm picking this up.
Hey man, it's not for
You know,
everybody.
this guy right
That's
here.
why I brought it to the table. I saved it for you.
Yeah, you never said, hey, I'm
Saved
picking
it
up a
for you,
bottle.
bud.
Would you like a bottle?
Come on, I saved it for you, bud.
Would you like a
Oh
bottle?
my God.
I want to get a
So,
taste of that. So we can
Tell
get,
us what you.
Yeah, we want to get your opinion on this $35
You
bottle.
know, you're a bourbon connoisseur.
Yeah, yeah.
You and I have partaken in a lot of different bourbons
Good flag.
when it's just us on the turntables getting
Yeah.
drunk.
Yeah,
Original members of the flight team right here, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah.
You know,
$35.
I don't know if everybody know about what
Age
flight
7
is.
years. Age 7 years. Tell me what you think about Woodford Reserve. And on the scale from 1 to 5,
I think he's got it.
1 to 5.
what
Original
you
flight
get?
team members here. Again, like I say,
Which you've had Woodford plenty of time.
very. But again, now this is another thing. All bourbon, all bottles, in all actuality, should taste different. They should vary from bottle to bottle. They should never always taste the same because they always come out of different mash bills, different barrels, all of that. So this jet to me just might be a bad batch. What you think, Brother Lee?
If I had to put it in a category, I'd probably say it reminds me slightly of a higher end makers in construction. Makers Mark.
Gotcha. Which Maker's Mark, to me, Maker's Mark is a little bit stronger because I'm a Maker's Mark fan. I believe we all are, especially that cast strength. Maker's Mark, it has a little bit more kick.
Is that him?
And by us all, you don't never want dead time. And by us all being, I don't want to say, well, I will say that, very well versed in drinking bourbon here. I mean, I think that our palate is a little bit. It does. It does. Yes, it do.
So when you...
One of them black-owned cigars, ain't it?
It's Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Upsetters, yeah.
Give it to us. Shoot it from the hip.
It's not bad for a.
Like I said, the more I'm drinking it,
I'd say like this. It's a bourbon that it's widely known. At the same time, it's when I say widely known, meaning that you can find it in just about any major restaurant or whatnot because it's easily accessible.
correct.
As far as taste, it's not. It doesn't have heat to it coming out in the initial or even at the finish. And when we say heat, meaning that hey, there's some bourbons you get into it within a second, you'll feel
Heat.
the heat, meaning the percentage of the alcohol of the nut. So, if I had to say, just in taste profile, of course you get the nuttiness, you get it's a soft finished, so it's not as harsh as some of the bourbons that I probably had. When I say harsh, meaning that they can be complex in flavors. So, like I said, I'm getting. To me, I said a higher end makers, meaning that makers, it's a wheated bourbon. So to me, I'm getting a wheat nuttiness, meaning that it's more earthy. You know what I mean? It's not overly like hitting you with different flavors. Now you get
It's
subtle basic flavors, subtle fruits, but it's not as like as some that I've tasted in other brands.
So what would you rate it?
Honestly, I'd probably rate a Maker's.
No. This.
Oh, this?
This
I'm
was.
saying, I was about to say Makers. I said because it felt like it was a higher Makers. And I guess you're just saying is this overall or just
1 through 5. 5-star rating.
I give it a 3.
That's fair.
And I would give it
That's
a
fair.
3 based off of mainly the fact that as far as if you're just getting into bourbon, it's a nice starter. It's easily accessible. At the same time, it's not
Everybody probably got a bottle of Woodford on their bar.
right. And then it's not gonna choke you. It's not gonna
Hurt your pocket.
that too. And then mainly you as far as the flavor profile, it's basic. It's a good base. It's a good base. I wouldn't say it's a good base to start at if that's all you know, but it's just a good base. If you wanted to build from there, it's a good building block.
My man. Appreciate your feedback there, Lee.
No.
And ladies and gentlemen, we really appreciate you joining the Men on Bourbon this evening. And basically, if you can't encourage anyone to drink bourbon, then you're discouraging them from the finer things in life. And this will conclude our episode for this evening. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen.